Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unlocking Vertex AI, the series where we explore the cutting edge world of AI and its impacts across various industries and use cases. Today, we are diving into the world of customer experience and the critical role that data quality plays in unlocking the true potential of AI. Now, generative AI promises personalized, efficient, seamless customer interactions, but the reality is many organizations are struggling to achieve the results they expect. Now, why is this? It often boils down to the data. Poor data quality can cripple even the most sophisticated AI models. So that is why I am so thrilled to have Aaron Schroeder, Director of AI and Analytics Solutions here at TTEC Digital, join Caleb Johnson for today's episode as they give their take on data integrity and AI and give a sneak peek into how TTEC Digital is leveraging Google Cloud's Vertex AI to tackle the data quality challenge for our clients head on.
Hey, Aaron, good to see you both. I know it's been a little while since we've done one of our Unlocking Vertex AI series, so it's great to see you both again. Just for the matter of intros, my name's Caleb Johnson. I help manage our Google business here at TTEC Digital. I'm joined by Whitney Kirchner, who helps also run our Google business. And then Aaron, I'll throw it to you. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm our Director of AI and Analytics Solutions here at TTEC Digital. So I leverage the power of Gemini to bring new and exciting innovations to our CX customers.
Awesome. So Whitney, Aaron, we were having a conversation the other day about some of the things that we're seeing from an evolution of how people are using AI, especially around customer experience. And as usual, there's always some kind of challenge that exists. Usually it's driven by some kind of legacy, technical debt, or just the fact that companies have been accumulating information and content for many, many years. One of the things that I keep seeing within our customers and the companies we're talking to is as they're looking to deploy more on the conversational agent side, or whether it's even in agent assist to support inside the contact center, is they really want to be able to leverage the content to be able to provide self-service automation into these experiences. So I think about it from there's lots of knowledge content that's sitting inside of enterprises. There's knowledge management systems. There's FAQ data. And one thing we keep running into is it's never sitting in the same place in just a single system, and nothing's perfectly curated. So I wanted to kind of start there for the conversation because what I'm seeing is it's quite key to being able to deploy these conversational agents or agent assist. So Aaron, love to get your thoughts on kind of what you're seeing from a data standpoint as we get into these different engagements with customers.
Yeah, so what we're seeing a lot here is just the impact of the statement that over 90% of any companies or enterprises' data is unstructured, and unstructured data has almost never been represented in data strategies. It's always the structured data. It's where's my databases, how is my reporting, and that's phenomenal. That's a great place to build off of. But as we enter this Gen AI world, and a lot of people know that some of the lowest hanging fruit or most impactful sorts of solutions to pursue are RAG or different various forms of chatbots. I want to be able to talk with my company's data. We're seeing that those are increasingly easy to stand up, but I think you nailed it. We see, the first thing that somebody will say is, well, we keep a lot of stuff in SharePoint. There's also some Google Docs over here.
Yeah.
There's also some things we keep in a wiki somewhere. And so it's all over the place. And how up to date is that? And so the longest part of every RAG or chat project we've been involved in is a matter of getting that data, making sure it's good enough, and then finally getting to the fun part that's the actual solution and the value that comes from it. But it's that early slog that really has risen as the clearest pain for all of these enterprises that we're dealing with.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I see the same thing. So when I think about we get into these engagements with customers, they're looking to go fast. Typically, they want to run a pilot of something, the low hanging fruit, if you will, to be able to go solve for something is really, all right, let's go take FAQs. Let's go create some commonly asked questions that we can put out there, put self-service around it, put it into a chatbot or some kind of voice virtual agent to be able to bring call volume, contact volume out of the contact center. But there's a natural pushback that happens at times where Okay, you've only got, your data is only so good, and you really want to ingest bad data, and there might be conflicts across this information. And so in our past conversations, you've brought up that from a delivery standpoint, that we've started using, some tools to be able to help automate or kind of make the process more efficient. So I was hoping that we could kind of get into a little bit of what you're using from a tool standpoint. Maybe we can take a look at it, show us an example of something, so that people can get an idea of kind of what some of the options are that are out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think we can probably share and hop right into that. So
Yeah.
what we've really done is taken some steps to make sure that we have different tools available to our consultants, to our employees, to be able to deliver as efficiently as possible. And the best way to do that is taking advantage of the power that Gemini brings to us. And so I'll share something here real quick. So you brought this up. Is the data good? Is it well curated? We've got an example here, and so I've put some sample content blocks in to our knowledge analysis tool, and I just want to point out. So this is for a healthcare payer. This can be some challenging information to work with. We know that agents in the healthcare space go through some of the longest and toughest training cycles because it's hard. It really is. It's a very complex space. It's highly regulated. It's sensitive. The impact of an issue is very high. And so what I've done here is I've put some health plan overview information, some wellness program information, and telehealth services in here. And so you can see what's in here. And again, using the power of Gemini, what we're doing here is being able to comb over all of this and say, how ready is this for that next step of being put into a chat solution or an agent assist solution. And so if we analyze this content, we'll run it through Gemini here real quick, and we get some results. Now, I've had these 3 blocks up on the screen for, I don't know, a minute, let's say. You probably didn't catch that we've got some conflicts in here. Telehealth visits are listed as a $0 copay down here. But then primary care visits have a $25 per visit copay up here. And that can create some confusion as to what counts as what. If I ask a question, am I going to get something that's not going to give me the correct answer? That's a real critical issue. Yeah. And we've got a few others as well down the line. So we haven't defined the prior authorization process well, or maybe there's inconsistent terminology in our new member benefits. So in terms of surfacing some of these issues that could exist, a lot of times when we talk about good versus bad data, people think, well, we know what good is, we know what bad is. And I think this really helps to highlight that a lot of times when you get to work doing the tough parts here, you don't know. You just really don't realize that your Google Docs over here and your process documentation over here aren't in sync, or worse, maybe have internal or confidential information that you're about to leak out to the world. So this is something that can help flag a lot of that. So
that's really cool. So a question for you, because I can definitely see where this is useful in the beginning of you've got a lot of content, you can ingest a significant amount of content. I realize these are just example, content blocks that you've got here, right? But this could be pulling in data from SharePoint or from, other content management or knowledge stores that are sitting out there. From the recommendation piece, the key topics, I see some of these things that are in here where I'm guessing there's a next step, right? You run the analysis, you got some level of insight into it, then what, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, whether it's a variant KMS, a KMS Lighthouse, there's a lot of different solutions out there. And so a lot of those don't come in with the built-in capability to be able to do some of this stuff. And so that's where we can connect, we can help analyze, we can help curate. But you're exactly right. We're not in the business of just shining a spotlight on the errors that you have. We're in the business of helping you fix those. And so you're absolutely right to call out the next tab. So there's recommendations. We can tell you exactly what should be done on this, because once you know what an issue is, you can get those insights on how to rectify them. So clarify your classification, detail the redemption process, explain the prior authorization process. So all of these things that link to the content issues you saw in the prior pane. Now, key topics is really interesting, because when you're looking at the coverage of your knowledge, it's important to know, do you have knowledge articles that cover all the same major entities or product names or topics, your intents that customers or members are calling in about. So when you look at this, a good way to think about it is when you use Google's conversational insights, you'll have all your topics in one place. You'll have entities and things like that. Is there similar coverage, or are there a lot of topics coming up in conversation that aren't covered here, or vice versa? Maybe you have knowledge that you don't need anymore, that it's outdated, you can sunset it, or maybe there's something really pressing on the mind of your customers or members that you don't have in your knowledge content, and that's a great way to be able to marry some of those insights together and really get there. As we continue through a few more of these, I'll just call out. So performance metrics, you want to know if you're consistent in your content, in your tone, in your whether it's length, anything like that. Are you resolving your critical issues? So keep tracking this over time. Knowledge is something that should live and breathe with your organization, and so you need to keep an eye on this. This isn't something you run once and you're solved forever. This is really something that can help be an ongoing management layer. Readability as well. You want things to be accessible to all of your customers or members that come to you, and that may mean other languages. That may mean just being able to communicate at a level that is readily consumable by your customers and members. And then, again, down here, we've got additional insights on what exactly this all means to you and what can be done. Now, the last thing I want to show in here is where we maybe add another layer of complexity. So we can construct a knowledge graph from this. And so besides being a valuable tool and a new way to use data structures with RAG systems and Gen AI chat systems, this helps you understand what your linkages between all your different content might be. So if you have, say, wellness rewards here, this is referenced in all of these other knowledge articles that we've pulled in, or content blocks, and maybe there's multiple links. So now too, your content authors, as they're updating these things, what's a load-bearing column for your entire solution? If you go make an update in one place, have you caused cascading failures in others? Did you update the other 6 articles that need to touch this and need to stay in sync? And if so, do you have a way to do that easily and simply? Because now you're suddenly finding yourself in the curation business. You want to be in the customer experience and the value business. So this is a really important way to be able to know the relationship between all of your different content and articles and topics and what they really mean to how you manage your data.
That's really cool. I didn't know we'd gotten that far with this. So you mentioned something earlier from an intent standpoint. And so I wanted to go back to that. As you run through the analysis and you understand, all right, here are the key topics that are covered. I know separately, we typically run some kind of intent analysis as well. Have you started thinking about how we marry those two things together, where you're going to have the intent analysis, you'll have your key topic analysis, and we can run a way to be able to start identifying where those gaps are in a more holistic manner, right? Like, again, because I think the idea is like, we just want to be able to automate as much of this analysis as we can to help accelerate bringing these conversational agents out to market.
We do. And so I'll come back here and just point out that, when we say view the full results in Looker here, there's a lot more data. There's a lot more analysis going on behind the scenes than what we're showing here in the sample demo utility. What you're really marrying up is who's calling into your contact center, how are your agents performing, the intents that are coming in, and then the usage of all of this knowledge as well. So are agents accessing, are they finding, are they accessing, and are they acting on the knowledge the way you expect, alongside then all of those topics and intents that are coming up? You can find some really interesting overlap where certain intents lead to knowledge articles that you actually didn't expect. And that gives you sort of an aha moment to dig in and say, well, are we surfacing the wrong thing in our search, or are we misclassifying some of these intents? Is there something else at play that we can use to help drive down the costs and the handle time and everything in our contact center? So yeah, there's certainly, once you get into the looker of it all, a whole nother layer of additional data that can be brought together to enable an ad hoc analysis to drive much deeper insights around all of that.
That's awesome. Well, this is Aaron, this is actually really cool. This does a lot more than I realized. You're way farther ahead than what I've seen out there so far. I think we've got to start figuring out how to incorporate this more into projects we're working on. So I want to thank you for bringing this together. Thanks for coming and giving us a rundown on this. It's always nice to just have a conversation around kind of what's happening in the market and how we're looking for ways to solve some of these problems. So Whitney, I don't know what we have next for our next Unlocking Vertex AI, or if we've got that set up, but it's definitely been nice to chat with you both.
Yeah, you as well.
Yes, much more content coming soon. So be sure to subscribe to our series on YouTube so you don't miss any future episodes.